Welcome to the Well Body Podcast, where we redefine what it means to be a healthy, ambitious woman. I'm your host, Renee, a nutritionist, women's health coach, personal trainer, and founder of Beyond the Body. Around here, we talk about building energy from the inside out through food, movement, mindset, and living in sync with our natural rhythms. No more quick fixes, no more burnout, just evidence-based tools and empowering conversations to help you thrive in your body and your life. This is your reminder that health isn't a side hustle. It's the foundation of everything that you do. So let's get into it. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the Well Body Podcast. I'm your host, Renee Diamond, women's health and hormone coach, and I'm here to help you reconnect with your body, your biology, and your natural rhythm so that you can feel energized, confident, and in tune with yourself again. Today, we're diving into one of my favorite topics of all time, and that is gut health and how it is the foundation for better hormone health, mood, energy, and longevity. Because no matter where you are and where you're at in life, whether you're cycling regularly, you're in perimenopause, menopause, or you just want to feel more balanced, your gut is one of the most powerful systems influencing how you feel every single day. Your gut is so much more than a digestive system. It's a living ecosystem, and it's home to trillions of microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, and even viruses, known collectively as your gut microbiome. Now, these microbes do far more than just break down your food. They play a direct role in regulating hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and cortisol. They modulate your immune system. They produce neurotransmitters like serotonin, which affect your mood. They influence your metabolism and energy production. One of the most fascinating discoveries in recent years is something called the estrobolome, a collection of gut bacteria specifically responsible for metabolizing and regulating estrogen in your body. When your estrobolome is healthy, your estrogen levels are balanced, meaning fewer PMS symptoms, more stable moods, clearer skin, and better energy. But when your gut is inflamed, sluggish, or out of balance, estrogen can recirculate instead of being cleared out through your bowels, leading to estrogen dominance. And that's when you might experience things like heavy or painful periods, bloating, breast tenderness, mood swings or anxiety, weight gain around the hips or abdomen. So yes, your hormones start in your ovaries, but they're regulated in your gut. And if your gut health is off, your hormones will always struggle to find that balance. So over the last decade, research into the gut microbiome has exploded. We've discovered over 30,000 different bacterial species that can live within the human gut, but on average, most people only have a few hundred dominant strains. And the more diverse your microbiome, the more resilient and energized you are. And researchers have identified certain bacteria that are really beneficial, that play a key role in our health. Now, I am so bad at explaining these scientific names, so I'm going to try my best to explain them. I've written them down because, look, I'll link it in the show notes too, and you'll understand why it's so hard to read. So the first one is Akkermansia muciniphila. I don't even know if that's how you say it. But however you say it, this little microbe, we're going to call it A&M, is linked to improved gut barrier integrity and metabolic health. Then we have, okay, are you ready for this next scientific word? Why do they give microbes and words in general in science to be so excruciatingly painful to pronounce and spell? This one here is the Faecalibacterium prausnitzii. Just check the show notes and see what I'm trying to explain, but this is a powerful anti-inflammatory species that supports immune balance. Then we have the Bifidobacterium, I know that one, and Lactobacillus, I know that one too, strains which help to reduce gut inflammation, improve digestion, and support the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin. But scientists are still discovering new species all the time, and what we know for sure is that diversity definitely matters when it comes to your diet. Every type of fiber-rich plant you eat feeds a different family of bacteria, and that's where the 30 plants points per week system that I've created and that goal comes in. So the 30 plant point method, what this is something you might have heard me say before. It's something I've used for some clients, especially if they're working directly for hormone health with nutrition. We always start with gut health. But your gut bacteria thrive on variety. The research from the American Gut Project, one of the largest microbiome studies ever done, found that people who eat 30 or more different plant foods each week have significantly more diverse gut bacteria than those who eat fewer than 10. Now, 30 might sound like a lot, but it's not actually as hard as it sounds when you know what counts. Now, if you want to download my free gut health guide, please check the show notes below where you can get that, because I've listed a whole lot of foods that you can then consume and add into your food that you're already eating to help give you an idea as to what some of these gut healthy foods are and contribute to that 30 plant points. In the book, in the guide, you've also got a checklist sheet that you can, if you want to print it out and go the extra mile, you can, but you can write down every plant that you do have, adding a point to try and get to that 30. But you can build your plant points from vegetables, every color counts, fruits, fresh or frozen, whole grains like oats, quinoa, brown rice, and barley, legumes like lentils, chickpeas, black beans, nuts and seeds like almonds, chia, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, and even herbs and spices count. Things like parsley, turmeric, cumin, basil, and cinnamon all count. Each unique plant food gives you 1 point. So if you had oats, blueberries, almonds, and chia seeds for breakfast, that's already 4 different plant points to start your day. It's about creating small, consistent diversity, not perfection. And we're not going to overhaul our entire diet in one day. What we're going to do is we're going to try and add in these foods to the meals that we're already having. So for example, if you're having eggs for breakfast, how can you make that a more plant point friendly meal? Well, you could add in some spinach, you could add some pumpkin seeds, you could add some sauerkraut, you could add a little bit of turmeric to your eggs. There's ways that you can add to the meal that you're already eating to increase the plant points, which is going to help diversify your gut, okay? So what the research shows about the best diet for gut and hormone health is that from all the data and studies that have been done so far, the most supportive style of eating for both gut and hormone health, and this is what researchers call whole food, fiber-rich, anti-inflammatory diet, often similar to the Mediterranean style of eating. And you've probably heard of that before too. That means lots of vegetables and fruits, whole grains and legumes, olive oil and omega-3 rich fats, quality proteins such as fish, eggs, lean meats, tofu, fermented foods daily, so adding fermented foods with everything, minimal ultra-processed foods, added sugars, and alcohol. This style of eating will naturally support stable blood sugar levels, reducing cortisol spikes, healthy estrogen metabolism through fiber and antioxidants, improved gut integrity by feeding beneficial bacteria, reduced inflammation, which allows hormones to communicate properly. Essentially, this isn't about restriction, it's about nourishment, abundance, and variety. And when you eat in a way that supports your gut, your hormones, energy, and mood start to align beautifully. When I get my clients to start eating in a gut-friendly, gut-healthy way, which is really Mediterranean styled, they actually can't believe the amount of food they can eat. And they might be adding a lot to one meal, but because of this, they literally can go all day with having 3 meals and they're satisfied and happy. So you might see in the fitness world, someone breaking apart a meal that has got eggs, seeds, nuts, carbohydrates, fats, and the calories might add up to say 750, 800 calories. But someone eating that particular meal who's not used to eating that much is going to feel incredibly full and satisfied until their next meal. So typically when you eat in this way, you might actually be quite happy with just 3 meals a day and be satisfied with that, because every single meal that you're eating is well balanced and well equipped to feed your body the nourishment it needs. So regardless of what the Fitspos say about nutrition and saying this is not a meal for fat loss, it is a meal for weight management if you are only eating around 3 of those large portioned, high calorie, dense, full of nutrients meals. And we're not worrying too much about how many calories per meal we're having when we're trying to nourish our gut and fuel our energy and fuel to perform. Yes, it does matter if fat loss is a goal, but like I said, you're going to have great weight management skills if you're having 3 meals a day that are filled with nutrients. Because if you add that up over the course of the day, you're probably only having 18 to 1900 calories. So that, in my eyes, is a win-win. It's a way that you can be more intuitive with your food, more intuitive with tracking, and it helps those who really struggle with the calorie counting side of things. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, but I've heard someone who is a Fitspo nutrition person tell me that eating these kind of meals is too high in calories and too high in fats and it's not going to align with my fat loss goals. Well, I can tell you that for a lot of my clients who don't enjoy tracking calories, when they eat in this way, they're intuitively seeing those results, and it's incredible. Like I said, because they're eating these beautiful, high nutrient dense meals that, yes, are higher in calories, but they're keeping them full for longer, and they're not actually needing to eat as much in between their meals, which has also been shown to be really beneficial for digestion as well. So we want quality and amazing volume, and we want to fill our plates with vegetables, with whole grains, with seeds, with good fats and protein. That is how you're going to have a balanced meal, feel satisfied, and be able to manage your weight without tracking your calories as such. At Beyond the Body, I am passionate about going beyond just the one-dimensional need of someone. So when it comes to our gut health, rather than just focusing on the nutrition, what else are we doing to support our gut? What goes beyond just the food? Well, there's the lifestyle habits that support your gut that we can implement that'll make a massive difference to how you feel. So let's go beyond the food here and look at what we can implement into our everyday life that's going to help your gut bacteria, which are living organisms, to thrive, because they respond not just to what you eat, but how you live. So here's what matters most: hydration. Water helps fiber do its job and keep your digestive system moving. So if you start to increase your fiber, it's so important that you start increasing your hydration too, or you might find that you get a little bit of an upset stomach or a little bit constipated or bloated at the beginning. So as you start to increase your fiber, you do need to increase your hydration too. Movement is such an important part of having better gut health. Walking, yoga, low impact movement, as well as doing your high intensity stuff, but adding in these low impact movements and Pilates as well, they do help to stimulate digestion and lymphatic flow. So even having a little 10-minute walk after you've had some food can actually really help the digestive process. I know traditionally we've been told when you eat you must sit and let the food digest, but actually what we know is that a little 10-minute walk after eating actually helps digestion a lot more. Stress reduction as well, which I know is easier said than done, but when you are chronically stressed, this directly alters your gut bacteria and increases inflammation in the body, which can then in turn lead to more injuries, burnout, fatigue, missed cycles, a harder time transitioning through perimenopause. So we really do need to do our best to manage our stress as best we can, and we can do this through making sure we are making decisions that are aligned with our values, making sure we are living up to our purpose in life, making sure that we are implementing a little bit of breath work, we're going to bed at on regular schedules at regular times, we're not staying up late all night watching Netflix, we're actually doing things in our life that are going to help to reduce our stress as much as we can, especially if our work life or our life in general is a bit stressed at the moment. So what can you do in your life to implement these tools to help reduce a little bit of stress, because this will make a massive impact on your gut health. And then sleep, as I mentioned. Even one night of poor sleep can disrupt your microbiome balance. So you need to make sure that you're getting that 7 to 9 hours sleep every single night. The only way you're going to prioritize getting enough sleep is by having a sleep routine in place and being quite strict with yourself about the times that you go to bed. And that having that routine at night can help you to do that. Okay, screens are off, TV's off, lights are dimmed. I'm doing everything I can in my power to reduce things that are going to stimulate me and keep me awake to help me go to sleep at night. I know it's harder when you've got newborns or you've got young kids, but it's about doing the best you can when you can, using these tools to the best you can when you can, rather than going, oh, it's never going to work for me. Just do it when you can, because that little bit of consistency that you start to implement into your life, that's what can lead to lasting change. Okay? So, the female body and gut health. Women are more sensitive to gut hormone imbalances because of how estrogen and progesterone fluctuate across the menstrual cycle. These hormones can change gut mobility, water balance, and even microbial composition. So for example, in the luteal phase, progesterone can slow digestion. You might feel a little bit more bloated. And around menstruation, low estrogen can alter serotonin levels, affecting mood and appetite. When your gut is strong and balanced, you move through these phases with more ease, which means less bloating, more stable energy, clearer skin, and fewer cravings. So this doesn't just apply to cycling women though. This applies to women that are in those perimenopausal phases or postmenopause phases, pregnancy, whatever phase you're in, your gut still plays a major role in regulating estrogen metabolism and maintaining healthy inflammation levels. So there we have the Essential 30 for optimal gut health. Here's a little simple challenge for you that you can start this week. Try to reach 30 different plant points by Sunday. I know that sounds like a lot, but here's how easy it can actually look. Okay, oats, chia seeds, blueberries, almonds, spinach, tomato, quinoa, black beans, capsicum, olive oil, pumpkin, broccoli, flax seeds, cucumber, kale, carrot, brown rice, basil, avocado, garlic, onion, lentils, kiwi fruit, apple, cauliflower, rocket, turmeric, walnuts, beetroot, parsley. There's your 30. And you don't have to do it in one day. You can just weave them into your week and notice how your digestion, energy, and mood start to shift. Now, I have seen from clients that I've worked with that as they start to implement more of these types of foods into their diet, they notice a massive difference within 7 days of just making these changes. So you can literally start that little reset that you've been telling yourself you've been wanting to start by just adding in more of these types of foods that I mentioned. They just gave you 30 right then and there. And as I've already mentioned, if you download my gut health guide in the show notes below, it's going to give you more insight as to how you can get those 30 plant points every single week. So I just want to remind you all that your gut health is the foundation of your hormonal harmony for your overall hormonal health. If you want better energy, mood, focus, better menstrual cycles, a better time transitioning through perimenopause, a better pregnancy health, better fertility if that's your goal, you need to start with your gut. Feed it variety, give it fiber, reduce your stress where you can, and remember that you don't have to overhaul everything overnight. Just one new plant food a day really does add up over time. Because when your gut is thriving, you are thriving. You feel calm, energized, radiant, and connected to your body again. And that's exactly what living beyond the body is all about. So if you loved this episode, please share it with a friend who needs to hear this message today. And if you haven't yet, grab your free gut reset checklist via the link below. It is going to be your step-by-step guide to help support you on your gut health and hormone health journey, because remember, health starts from the inside. Until next time, take a deep breath, slow down, and remember your body is always working for you. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could please leave me a 5-star review. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of your week.